Today is October the 20th, 2007. We're in the ConocoPhillips Alumni Center on the OSU campus. My name is Tanya Finchum, and this is part of the Oklahoma State University Library's project entitled O State Stories, where we're collecting interviews with alumni from OSU, or OAMC. And I'm here with Butch and Carolyn Savage, and they're from the class of 53. So thank you for taking time out to interview with us today. Let's start by having you tell a little bit about where you're from, where you grew up. Anyone?
I grew up in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
And went all my school years previous to college there, and I graduated from Northeast High School. And then I came to OSU as a freshman in 1949.
Okay.
And I was among the first who lived in Stout Hall. It was brand new, and I lived in the second corner room, and it was a wonderful experience. I lived there in my freshman year, and then the next 3 years I lived in Kappa Alpha Theta House, and then was active on campus doing things with the sorority and with the Women's Athletic Association.
Were you the first in your family to come to OSU?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Yes, I was. All my cousins were OU graduates. And my daddy said he would rather have me come here because it wasn't the party school that OU was. He just thought it would be better atmosphere here.
Sure. And do you have siblings?
No.
You're an
only child.
Okay. And what about you, Mr. Savage?
Well, I grew up, I was born in Kansas, and my parents moved to Oklahoma when I was 5. And we were located in Osage County up around Pawhuska, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Lived in the country on a ranch, and went to Pawhuska school, with the exception of my senior year in high school, which we moved to Hominy, Oklahoma. And outside of Hominy is where Carolyn and I lived the rest of our life up until the last few years, ranching. And
how did you come to choose OSU then?
well, it was that's a good question. I think probably because I had a few friends that were attending here, more than likely, and also I wanted to be involved in agriculture.
Well, how far from Hominy is it to here?
Oh, it's just about 70 miles.
Well, in those days, it took a little longer to get here.
Well, especially if you didn't have a car, and I didn't.
So how would you get?
Well, we had 2 methods of transportation back then, either the bus or hitchhiking. And hitchhiking was quite common back then. On Friday evenings, every highway leading out of Stillwater would be lined with students hitchhiking home, and people would always stop and pick you up. We wouldn't see that today, would we?
No, we wouldn't. Mm-mm.
But it was very common back then.
So you did.
Yeah, I could generally get home in a couple, 3 hours hitchhiking. Yeah.
And what about you? How did you get from?
Well,
from
I had a car.
She was
The reason I
special.
dated her.
And there were very few cars then. A few people had them, but most didn't.
I'd say most women didn't, for sure.
No, they didn't.
And now I think every student has 4 cars.
Sure seems that way.
Boy, it does.
It does. So how did you two meet here then, or once you got here? How did
We
you
had a blind date, I think, from some friends got us together that were dating, and so we had a blind date, and then that was pretty much it. We didn't date many other people until then, or after then.
Well, what would you do for a date? What type of activities would you walk to the movie or
Yeah,
what?
well, we took my car. We went to a movie. We went to the Leachman Theater.
Okay.
It was down on Main Street,
Mhm.
and I think it's a furniture store or something now.
It is.
And on Sunday evenings, that's Sunday, we would usually go to the show, and then we'd eat at Skeens. Was it Skeens?
Gosh, I don't know.
I think it was Skeens. It was not very far from the movie. And usually had
75 cents for a meal.
Yeah, have hamburger steak, no one had much money, really. And then we would, of course, he was a Sigma Chi, and so we would go to all their parties, and the Thetas would have parties, and we had lots of dances up on the Starlight Terrace at the Student Union, which was, I guess that's all enclosed now, but it was open then.
Did they have bands come in, or just or music from what?
Well, some local musicians would play.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, there were good
they-
bands at OSU. The people that were in the orchestra.
Yeah,
or
they
in
had
the
a
band.
dance band, the university dance band that played.
What if you didn't know how to dance?
Well, you learn.
You didn't just sit and watch.
No, that was when the bunny hop was prevalent. I remember one time we were upstairs at the Starlight Terrace and we were hopping, and I kicked my foot and it went off the balcony at the Starlight Terrace, clear down.
What, your foot or the shoe?
My shoe.
No.
The shoe. We lost my shoe, which had to go get it. But it was, and he likes to fish, and sometimes we go fishing. And then as we dated more, sometimes I went home with him, met his folks, and I'd never even been on a farm, much less a ranch. I didn't know anything about ranching or farming. That was the last thing I ever thought I would do.
City girl meets.
Yeah.
And so, did you get pinned while you were?
Yes.
Did you get thrown in Theta Pond then?
You know, I did. I think there's still an imprint of my body.
Well, what was that like though?
Well, it was cold. It was cold. But yeah, that was a common. Does that custom still prevail here?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, well, how'd you know about it?
Other people have mentioned
Yeah.
that they had not, but they had seen their friends
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
And so I was just curious.
Well, yes, I participated in that activity.
And when I was a freshman, for many years, the girls had to be in the dorms by 8 o'clock.
Had a curfew.
Had a curfew, and then I think on weekends, I think we could stay out till midnight. And then when I moved to the Theta house, Frances Briggs was our house mother, and she would start flipping the switch, when we were time to come in. And one thing interesting is that Boone Pickens was the Theta houseboy and worked in the kitchen.
Actually worked in the kitchen.
Yeah, he did. He like everybody else, he didn't have much money, and that you could eat. The houseboys could eat at the sorority houses, and I understand they don't do this anymore. We had 3 meals a day, and were served on Sunday. I think Sunday evening they did not have a meal, but all the rest of the time the meals were in the house, and they just, that's not the way they do it now.
Were they included in your price of tuition then? It was
Yes. Well, included in your house bill.
house bill.
And he was the steward for the Sigma Chi house. He planned the meals. And,
That's where I learned to make gravy.
So you still do that, huh?
You bet.
Well, for finances, then how did you pay your way through at that time? Did you have a scholarship, or
No.
worked your way through, or what?
I worked for my room and board through the kitchen. Received my room and board there. Mayflower Moving Company, the big moving vans that moves people. They had an office here in Stillwater, and I worked for them, loading furniture when they had a client to move, which was almost every week. You'd get at least one or 2 jobs, and we'd do it in the evenings or on the weekends, load those trucks. And then I collected laundry and worked for a laundry, collected the laundry and collected the payments and delivered the laundry. And then my last 2 years in ROTC, we were paid $30 a month for ROTC. And those three sources of revenue met all of our needs. Didn't take much money back then. Too.
No.
It's a lot different than
Yeah.
our grandchildren going to school today.
Yes. Are they coming here, your grandchildren?
I have one. The rest of them were, 3 of them were at Texas A&M, and but we have a grandson that's here on campus now.
Great. And did any children come here then? Or did they
Yeah, both
skip a
our
generation?
both our daughter and son came here. We took them around to visit other colleges, but Butch told them, said, well, you can go visit all those other colleges you want to, but if you want to have your way paid, you're going to go to Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma State by then.
Mhm.
And they came here and they loved it.
Sure.
They had a good time, and it was good for them.
So you guys graduated before they changed the name.
Yes.
Yes.
What did you think about the name change at the time?
Well, I think it's appropriate. It's a little added sophistication.
I didn't like it. I wish it stayed OAMC. I love that. In fact, I have my tag on my car is OAMC, and so many people don't know what it means.
Right.
And
Well, there'll be fewer and fewer every year.
every year, right? But I just love OAMC, and I realize it's a big state university now, but I have great fondness for the name.
Well, what's your favorite place on campus?
I guess Theta Pond. I love to walk around it and be there, and that's
Football stadium, particularly when we win.
Particularly, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And did you go to many sporting events when you were students
Oh,
here
yes. Yeah, went to all of them.
then? Well, for your years, I've heard someone mention that they had to do the odds and evens.
yes,
Did you have that for tickets?
yes.
There wasn't enough for everybody to have one, so they had to do odds and evens.
Did we?
Yeah, we did, but often
Well,
you were able to go. You were able to get somebody's ticket.
yeah, we never had a problem going to the
You,
game.
you never had a problem because not everybody was interested in going, and those.
Well, we didn't win many football games.
No, we
You could always
didn't.
get in the stadium.
Yeah.
Basketball was the tickets were hard.
I think that's probably what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you could always wiggle the ticket out, somewhere.
What was your major?
My major was education.
Okay, and what about your?
Animal husbandry.
And what have you done since with those degrees then?
Well, I've ranched all my life.
Okay. Did you teach?
Well, I substitute when he was in the service. He was in the service in Anniston, Alabama, in the Chemical Corps, and so while he was there, I did substitute, and I had a contract to teach the coming year, and then I got pregnant, and I was real sick, nauseated the whole time, and I just couldn't function, and so I have substituted all the time. My children were in school. They Bush didn't want me to teach full time, and so I was able to stay home with the children. But I have substituted a lot, and I enjoyed that because it was in Hominy, small
Right.
town, and you knew all the kids, and it was nice.
Well, how often do you get back to campus?
Quite often. We come to all the sporting events, and well, in years past, we used to spend a lot of time up here. She was involved. She was on the Board of Regents forever and ever,
16.
16 years,
It's a long time, yes.
and so that brought us to her to the campus all the time, and I was fortunate enough to be invited and included in some of the activities. So.
Well, by sporting events, all of them, or just football and basketball?
Generally, football and basketball.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
We went to some wrestling matches when you were in
Oh, yeah.
school.
Yeah.
But we haven't been to many since then. Your life just gets so you can't come to everything, But
Well, when you step foot on campus, do you get a particular fuzzy feeling or something?
this campus means a lot
Yeah.
to us because of our children both went here, and then I went on the board in 1977, the same year as Dr. Larry Boger became president. We came on at the same time. So I was here all the time that he was president, and I just saw so many buildings go up, and he did such a good job as president. And we had a lot of fun memories of that. And one year, the Coca-Cola people invited Oklahoma State and the Texas Tech to go to Japan to play in the Japan Bowl. And so both teams went, and both members of each board of regents, the Texas Tech and us, we got to go. And we got to go over there and spend several days and see Japan, and we stayed in Tokyo. And that was a wonderful experience. And it's just so many things like that we got to do that we wouldn't have gotten to do otherwise. That meant a lot. And so having seen buildings go up and seeing the way the school has progressed, and the faculty members you get to know, often many of the ones that I knew are no longer here, except Dr. Carl Reed. I think he's still at the dean of engineering, and we knew him, and it's just a wonderful experience.
Well, in 53 was about the time the library opened, the new library, or the current library was new at that time.
It was later than
No,
that.
it was a little later.
A little later.
The union was completed in 53,
Okay.
Yeah, the student union.
but the library,
It was
a wooden building.
you know where your chemistry.
I spent a lot of time there, she didn't, but
where you told me you went to the chemistry lab. Well, the old library was close by there too.
Yeah.
And
but it was a wooden structure.
no, I think it was brick.
No, it wasn't. Okay.
But I did a lot of studying at the library. I love to study at the library, and I've been on the Friends of the Library board since I have graduated with Dr. Johnson. You probably didn't know Ed Johnson.
Yeah,
Did you?
He was a very nice man. Yes.
And so I have great fondness for the library. I think that is the heart of the campus, the library. And our daughter-in-law is a librarian, and she's a school librarian in South Lake, Texas, one of their schools. And so it's just a wonderful thing that librarians do. I really appreciate it because I know how much time she spends at it. It's ongoing.
And the
Yeah.
information highway's
Yes,
quite large now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Since the union was just started, what type of activities did you participate in there? We've heard people mention bridge games.
Oh, well, we didn't.
I didn't know how to play bridge. at that
She
time.
didn't until we went
Well,
in.
in fact, I still don't
Oh,
play,
yes,
but
you do. But most of the bridge I learned to play was at the sorority house. It was up on the 4th floor, and there was an ongoing bridge game there. People that I knew that had time between classes or something, seems like I was always in class, but if you had a lot of extra time, you could come and play bridge game between classes.
Which dorm did you live in? Oh, you said
Stout Hall.
And what about you?
I lived in the Sigma Chi house.
Not dorm anytime? No. What was graduation day like? Did they have a official commencement like they do now?
Yes, it was at the football stadium.
Outside?
Uh-huh. And everybody. I mean, I think there were 15,000 people here when we were on campus. And so it wasn't that large a school. You could get everybody and it was a smaller stadium certainly than we have now.
It was the Aggies then?
Yes.
So what was the mascot then? If it wasn't Pistol Pete at that time, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. But not as prominent as he is now. I don't think. Not as prominent as he was. Dr. Wilhelm, I think, was the president when we graduated, but Dr. Bennett had been killed in the plane crash. And and one of our Butch's best friends, he was with his family over in Ethiopia because OSU sponsored the .4 program that went to undeveloped countries to help them. And Dr. Brandon was over there for years, and Butch's good friend Russell was, as a child, growing up over there with him. And he ended up at the University of Kentucky.
How did you get on that?
I don't know. I didn't know. That could be struck out.
Well, I want to go back just a minute for the Theta Pond thing. Once you got thrown in, then what? You had to walk back to your dorm in the cold,
Soaking wet,
soaking wet.
Yeah.
Did you know you were going to get thrown in? So
Well,
could you
yeah.
plan
But
ahead
you
of
don't
time?
know when. I mean,
Yeah.
once you're pinned, I think you're thrown in, but I don't think you have any idea when that time is when the brothers will get together and do it.
So your wallet and your shoes and everything goes
That's
with you?
Right. That's right. That's right.
Hmm.
Yeah. That was a common occurrence back
Yeah, you could always see a whole bunch of boys, and they'd had one individual, and they were holding him, headed for Theta Pond, and then whoosh, there you go. I was always afraid somebody would get.
She looked so much like Robbie Pettit,
Oh, she does, doesn't she?
this pretty girl that we know.
Yeah,
Thank you.
she does.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
What a
she
resemblance.
That's
does.
what you've been trying to figure out, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Good pastime.
Well, then, did they try to do it more than once, or how they keep track of how many
No,
times
once
you've been thrown in?
is adequate.
You can just say, yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, you're baptized.
Unless you got pinned to somebody else another time, and then you'd probably
They do
be
it
thrown
again.
again.
Well, did
Yeah.
they throw professors in too if they happened to get engaged or married or something?
Oh,
during
I
the
No,
don't
time?
I don't think so. Just
No.
students.
Just,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
did you have a favorite professor?
Yeah, you know I did. Yes.
And who would that be?
Well, it was a gentleman named Bob Noble,
Okay.
who was in the School of Agriculture and just an outstanding teacher and counselor. And I thought a lot of him.
What about you?
I don't guess I really did. It seems like in the School of Education, they're always switching, you know. I don't guess I never got real close to, and I tell you who I did get close to, and that was Dean Patchen. She was the Dean of Women. I served on some council that she kind of led, and I kept in touch with her through the years. And Selma Patchen, just loved her to death. And I also knew Valerie Colvin. I was on a committee that worked with her, and that's who
Oh,
Colvin
Colvin
Center's
Center.
named after. And so I enjoyed both of those relationships. I think became more deeply involved with them than I actually did any of my professors.
So how often during the school year would you go home? Probably different for both of you, but
As a freshman, I think I went home a lot because I was homesick. But after that, I
Get
just
busy.
stayed here. Most
I
of the
really
time.
didn't go home that much because
You'd go home to work cattle.
probably because of the transportation situation.
didn't want to hitchhike any more than you had
Yeah,
to.
yeah. But I had this cardboard suitcase, and I put my clothes in it and hitchhike home.
And you used to have the horrible green wool jacket.
Why is that important?
That you had a tie that lit up.
We've heard stories, so
Are we about through?
no, we're just getting started. Unless you want to be through, then we can be.
Teasing you. Teasing you.
A lot of people just came with one or two blankets too, we've been told too, so it's interesting to see what people came with. And one suitcase is what most of them had, so
Yeah,
just the times were different.
They really were.
I should say so.
But you had siblings? Did I ask you that? I didn't ask you.
Yes, I think you did. Or she related to you that we had two children of Which both?
No, you.
Your
You
brother.
brothers
Oh,
and
I'm
sisters.
sorry. I'm sorry. I have one brother.
And did he go here?
No, he went to Kansas State.
Older, younger?
He's older.
So you didn't follow after him?
No, I
then?
didn't. No, I didn't.
He was a veterinarian, and they didn't have a vet school here at the time.
Yep.
So it's,
And had your parents gone to college, or were you the first in your?
Yeah.
Same for you.
mhm.
Now we have 3 generations though. If
Yeah.
you've got grandchildren
Yeah.
here too.
We sure do.
So both of you must have a lot of orange in your closets.
I do. His grandchildren keep giving him all this orange, and he doesn't wear it a whole lot. But he started to this year. You've worn more orange this year
I don't want to be conspicuous.
than.
Well, when you were attending here, it probably wasn't a big deal to wear orange
Oh
as
no,
much.
it wasn't.
No.
No, you just didn't wear any. It didn't matter.
And you
Just
had to wear
had one
dresses.
shirt anyway.
Yeah, we wore mostly skirts and saddle Oxfords and bobby socks and sweaters. You know, we never wore. I think I owned a pair of Levi's or jeans, and
You probably had 1 or 2, and that was it.
That's it. I can say this, the students back then dressed better than they do today.
With the less.
Yes.
they were neater. Well, of course, it was almost everybody dressed. All the girls dressed alike. You know, they'd have little shirts and then have little ties. They'd put them here. It was everybody looked alike, and the girls.
And then for the dances, you had to have formal dresses then, or?
Uh-huh. Then for some dances, and then you had a dance hour every week at your house, and you wouldn't wear formals to that, but you'd wear a dress or a skirt or something.
Well, what was homecoming like back then?
Oh, it was fun. It was. I think it's a lot. I think one thing about it, I think they've preserved
Probably have.
homecoming more than anything I know of. I can remember us.
Basically, it's the same, you know,
Yeah,
the house decorations.
probably the house decorations are more elaborate,
Oh, yeah.
but everybody stuffed those palms in the things, and you worked all night for several days before. I remember one of the last times I helped, it just rained and got our float wet and everything dripped, and it was terrible because that crepe paper gets on your clothing and you can't get it out. You know?
Well, the dye would.
Yeah, the dye.
You didn't skip classes to do the work though, did you? In
No,
those
No,
days, not like
never.
they do. They do that now.
no, we did all the work at night.
And they had more floats then than they do now.
Yeah, I had a lot of
evidently.
floats. Yeah, everybody had a float, and it was fun.
So did they do the walk around then, or that's probably a more recent
Well,
walk around?
I can't remember that there was a certain, like on Friday night, I can't remember that there was that, but people would drive in their cars and want to see all the different places that had the decorations.
Were the floats hidden until the day of the parade?
Yeah,
Tried to be.
yeah, you had a garage somewhere, or if someone had to an auto dealership or a big barn or something, yeah.
How much money was spent on something like that then? Because it'd have to come out of your guys' pockets, wouldn't it?
I think it probably was in a budget that you had, that the
Everybody spent the
entity
same.
had, and they covered that, figured it in their budget for the year.
Okay.
And I remember one.
Oh, I don't think there's much money spent. They weren't near as elaborate as they are now.
They
Some,
spend a lot.
a little lumber, some chicken wire, and some crepe paper, you know.
And a good engineer to come up with the design.
Yeah, yeah.
When was it you all, the Sigma Chi's did the, it's not how you win or lose, it's how you play the game, and they put these guys in
Statue.
statues, and they taped them somehow, and then cut it off, and they sprayed them gold, and they really look like statues, doing different things. And I think didn't you win first place with that?
Oh, more than likely. I don't remember.
But it's not how you win or lose.
It's not how you play the game. It's not
Exactly.
whether you win or lose. It's how you play the game.
By Grantland Rice, isn't that
Yeah.
right? That's what he said.
It's an old Chinese
And it
proverb.
was out on the Sigma Chi. It was on they put it on their sidewalk out going to the street. And there were about 5 or 6 of these big, life-size gold statues. And it was really pretty.
I'll have to find some pictures unless did you take some? Would you
I don't
happen-
think we
No.
have any.
I'll have to look in the library, see if you
Yeah, I
find
still
some.
remember if we have any. I know we don't. But, so those things you kind of remember because they're unusual.
Mhm. Would you have a favorite story about your time here? Besides getting thrown in the pond?
Favorite story.
Yeah.
Well, I think I always enjoyed when the fraternities would come and serenade the sororities, when someone got pinned, and that, I loved that because they all had good voices and they really could sing well. And I don't know whether they still do that or not.
I don't know. Maybe not. No one else has said that in our discussion, so I don't know. They might not.
But they, if when you got pinned, they would come and serenade. And they'd always sing "The Sweetheart of Sigma Chi," yours or not, whatever sorority it was or fraternity. I'm sure that's what they did.
Well, I'm sure the Vegas didn't sing Sweetheart. Sing.
No, I'm sure they didn't either.
He just been difficult today.
Oh, that's just typical.
But do you stay in touch with many of your friends from that time period?
I stay in couple with some in my pledge class. We email. We just started doing that, and that's fun. And I do the emailing. He doesn't do any, but I do stay in touch with some of his Sigma Chi friends by email.
Well, I think that's one of the great assets of college education is the lifelong friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Very definitely.
It's kind of hard to maintain though if they get scattered across
It
the
is.
country.
It is, and it's a shame that you don't do more of it. But both of us have relationships that are priceless.
And we're getting to the age now where you're losing some friends, through death, and that's hard.
They would have had the 50th anniversary a few years ago. Did you guys come to that here in campus? And were there many people?
Oh yeah,
then?
we did, because I was on the board then.
No, are you talking about? She's talking about a wedding anniversary.
No.
You're talking about it.
Graduation. I'm sorry. Graduation anniversary. 50th.
Yeah.
Well, have you reached the other one yet? Yeah.
No.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, a few years ago.
Yeah. But
Class reunions, 50-year class reunions. Wow, that's
In fact, they gave us all a cap with OAMC, and you'd be amazed when you wear it on the campus. People say, "What does that mean?"
yeah, that was in the School of Agriculture.
Yeah.
And they gave you a pen or something.
Yeah.
So,
What's been the biggest change from the way the campus looks to then? Well, I mean, the stadium looks bigger, I'm sure.
but
But
just
that,
the size of it and the student body.
The number of cars.
Yeah, you'd never find a parking place. And
Something needs to be done about it.
and they're building parking garages, if you can count that.
Well,
I think the students as a whole are probably, they're more sophisticated now. Of course, they've had the benefit of all this new world of technology, and they just are.
a lot of them come with 10 or 12 or 15 hours of college credits they've already received in high school.
That's true.
Yeah,
It's just unbelievable.
we certainly didn't have that situation when we were going to school. The students are really bright today, and I'm amazed how with our grandchildren, how committed they are to. I think they're more committed to their religion. Ours are anyway. They're really deeply involved in their church, and they go to. Well, we always went to church when we were here. But I'm just surprised that they're interested in Bible groups and things like that, which we did not do. People just didn't do that. You just went to church on Sunday.
Where here in town would you go to the?
We went to the Methodist Church, McFerrin Stowe. He became a bishop in the Methodist Church eventually, and then he married us in Oklahoma City at St. Luke's Methodist. He was wonderful.
Sixth and Duck. That
Yeah.
Methodist one.
Yeah. And it's so much bigger now. You know, there used to be one building, but then we noticed today that the Presbyterians are adding on to a new fellowship hall on their building, and I'm sure probably all the churches have grown, because of I guess it's amazing how much Stillwater as a whole has grown.
Mm-hmm.
All these huge homes west of town. It's just, the world has changed. And sometimes I think, I know our grandchildren have a lot more things than we ever had growing up, but they handle it pretty well.
They came from good stock.
Well, you hope.
You hope.
You hope.
Well, I don't know what else. What else would you like to cover today? If you were giving advice to students, what would you tell them about coming here?
Oh,
Study hard.
yeah.
Know where the library is.
Make the best of it,
Yeah, I think they come, a lot of students come and expecting to have a good time, which they have, and they forget why they're here, maybe to really learn and become really knowledgeable of their field, because they don't remember or don't realize how competitive the world is out there now. I guess
I just don't think they realize how important it is for them to have a successful collegiate career once they get into the business world. It's going to enhance that opportunity so much more.
Well, and more people are graduating from here, so it's spreading out too. I had not heard of OSU before. My husband came home and said, "Guess what?"
We're amazed that our children live in the Fort Worth area, and we're amazed at the volume of Texans that come to OSU from that Fort Worth, Dallas area. There's a lot of kids that come up here now.
It's pretty much, 3.5 hour drive, 4.5
Yeah.
hour, and they bypass OU to come up to us.
Yeah.
And
Well, of course, Texas A&M and Texas University is difficult to get in. You got to be in the top 10% of your high school class, and so that means that 90% are going to have to find someplace else to go. And as of to date, Oklahoma State financially is a better deal than so many other major universities, although it costs a lot to go to college, but it costs a lot more in a lot of different places than here. And that draws some students up here, which I think is great.
oh, I do too. I think we have wonderful faculty here. I know our children felt like they had excellent professors and people that cared about them. They would be invited to their homes and things like that, and I think that's
Personal touch.
yeah. And of course, it's getting so big. I don't know how much that's done today.
Well, too, they've started the Parents Association. where parents can be involved with a little bit more too. So I think that's helping bring that to.
I saw a sticker on a car in the parking lot of the student union here. Parents Association.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, Ann Halligan started it,
Oh, she did?
Oh, she's wonderful.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be darned.
and it's grown and keeps growing. Parents
I
are more
noticed they
involved
were
now.
the marshals of the parade today. I would have loved to have gone, but we couldn't get here that early. But
I think they still live here in town.
yes, they do. Yeah, we saw them a few weeks ago, and I think he's one of the best things that ever happened to OSU. People just loved him.
Yeah, they're just nice people.
Mhm.
Yeah, very personable.
Yes, they are.
You two are too.
Oh.
That's all I have unless you want to cover something else.
No.
You got time to go somewhere else, huh?
All righty.